That soothing cup of tea you're drinking right now? It might be laced with pesticides that were banned decades ago. That organic brand you paid extra for just got recalled for contamination. That iced tea your family drinks every summer contains lead levels that shocked independent testers. We're about to reveal which popular tea brands are quietly poisoning millions of people, and the 3 brands that actually passed rigorous safety testing. What you're about to discover will change how you shop forever. Let's start with a brand that millions of families trust, especially across the southern United States. Louisiana has been around since 1902, and their iced tea is a staple at summer barbecues and family gatherings. The problem? In May 2024, Consumer Reports tested 30 different tea products for heavy metals. Louisiana iced black tea was one of only 2 products that raised serious red flags. The independent lab found lead levels that exceeded safety thresholds. Now you might be thinking, how much lead are we talking about? Here's the thing about lead. There is no safe level. The EPA and health organizations agree that lead accumulation in the body is dangerous, especially for children and pregnant women. Lead doesn't just pass through your system. It builds up in your bones and organs over years of exposure. What makes this particularly troubling is that iced tea drinkers typically consume more than hot tea drinkers. Think about it. On a hot day, you might drink 3 or 4 glasses of iced tea. That's not 3 cups of potential lead exposure. That's potentially a lot more, depending on how strong you brew it. Louisiana's response? They disputed the findings and cited their own internal testing. But here's the problem with that. Companies test their own products all the time, and surprise, they usually find everything is fine. Independent third-party testing is what matters because those labs have nothing to gain by making brands look bad. They're just reporting the data. The source of the contamination likely comes from where the tea is grown. Soil contamination with heavy metals is a massive problem in certain tea-growing regions, particularly in China and India, where environmental regulations aren't as strict. The tea plants absorb these metals from the soil, and they end up in your cup. If Louisiana iced tea is your go-to summer drink, you need to know this information. Your body doesn't care about nostalgia or brand loyalty. It cares about what you're putting into it day after day, year after year. Here's where things get really interesting. From Great Origins markets itself as an organic brand. The packaging is beautiful, covered in images of flowers and nature. It screams healthy choice. But in that same 2024 Consumer Reports testing from Great Origins, organic hibiscus tea was the second product to fail for high lead levels. This one surprised us because of that organic label. We've been conditioned to believe that organic automatically equals safe. Companies charge premium prices for organic products, and consumers pay happily because they think they're protecting their families. But organic certification only means the tea was grown without synthetic pesticides and fertilizers. It says absolutely nothing about heavy metal contamination. Hibiscus tea is particularly popular right now. It's tart, refreshing, and studies show it might help lower blood pressure. Health-conscious people are buying it in bulk. But if the hibiscus flowers were grown in contaminated soil, all those health benefits come with a side of lead poisoning. What's even more frustrating is that many people specifically seek out hibiscus tea for its health properties. They're trying to do something good for their cardiovascular system, and instead they're potentially exposing themselves to a known neurotoxin. That's not just disappointing, it's dangerous. The lesson here? Don't let marketing fool you. Organic is good, but it's not a guarantee of safety. You need brands that go beyond basic organic certification and actually test for heavy metals, pesticides, and other contaminants. Those test results should be publicly available, not hidden behind customer service emails. From Great Origins might be cheap and widely available at discount stores, but your health isn't worth saving a few dollars. Now we're getting into territory that'll really make your stomach turn. Uncle Lee's Legends of China Tea was tested back in 2014 by CBC Marketplace in Canada, and what they found was absolutely shocking. This one tea contained 22 different pesticides. 22. Some of these pesticides are banned in North America because of their links to cancer and hormone disruption. You might be wondering why we're mentioning a test from 2014. Fair question. Here's why. The company never adequately addressed these findings. There's been no public commitment to changing their sourcing or testing practices. When a brand gets caught with this level of contamination and doesn't take dramatic steps to fix it, that tells you everything you need to know about their priorities. One of the pesticides found was endosulfan, which is banned in over 80 countries because it's an endocrine disruptor. That means it messes with your hormones. We're talking about potential impacts on fertility, development, and metabolism. Another was monocritophos, which is so toxic that workers have died from exposure during agricultural use. The tea industry has a dirty little secret. Pesticide use in tea cultivation is rampant, especially in China, which produces about 40% of the world's tea. Tea plants are susceptible to all kinds of pests and diseases, and in countries where environmental regulations are weak, farmers spray heavily to protect their crops. When you buy cheap tea from China, you're rolling the dice. Some of it might be fine, but products like Uncle Lee's show what can happen when there's no rigorous testing or quality control. You're essentially trusting that the farmers and exporters halfway around the world are following safety protocols, even though there's no one checking. The most disturbing part? These pesticides don't just wash off. They're absorbed into the tea leaves during growth. No amount of rinsing before brewing will remove them. Every cup you drink is a cup of chemical exposure. If what you've heard so far is making you rethink your tea choices, do us a favor. Hit that like button right now so more people can see this information. Subscribe to the channel because we're exposing what's really in the products we trust every single week. And drop a comment telling us which brand shocked you most so far. We read every single one. Yogi Tea has built an entire brand identity around wellness, spirituality, and purity. Their boxes have inspirational quotes. Their marketing talks about Ayurvedic traditions and holistic health. They sell themselves as the conscious choice for mindful people. So imagine the shock when, in May 2024, Yogi voluntarily recalled their Echinacea immune support tea due to pesticide residue that exceeded FDA limits. This wasn't some third-party investigation that the company disputed. This was Yogi themselves admitting there was a problem. Echinacea is an herb people take specifically to support their immune system, especially during cold and flu season. The irony of an immune support tea being contaminated with pesticides is almost too perfect. You're trying to strengthen your body's defenses, and instead, you're exposing yourself to chemicals that suppress immune function. What bothers us most about situations like this is that recalls only happen after products are already on shelves and in people's homes. How many cups did people drink before the recall was announced? How many parents gave this tea to their kids when they were feeling under the weather? Yogi's recall was voluntary, which means they deserve some credit for owning up to the problem. But it raises serious questions about their quality control processes. How did contaminated product make it through production and distribution in the first place? What other Yogi products might have issues that haven't been caught yet? This is why you can't just trust pretty packaging and wellness branding. Companies make mistakes, cut corners, or fail to properly vet their suppliers. Your health depends on brands that have multiple layers of testing and verification, not just good marketing departments. Now we're about to ruin something that's become incredibly trendy in the last few years: matcha. Those Instagram-worthy green lattes? The matcha shots that influencers swear by? We need to talk about what's really in that bright green powder. Here's the hard truth. Virtually all matcha is contaminated with heavy metals, particularly lead. This isn't about one bad brand. This is an industry-wide problem that affects even the expensive, ceremonial-grade matcha from Japan. The reason has to do with how matcha is made. Unlike regular tea, where you steep the leaves and throw them away, with matcha, you're consuming the entire ground-up leaf. Every contaminant in that leaf goes directly into your body. You're ingesting the whole plant, which means you're getting concentrated levels of whatever that plant absorbed from the soil and air. Japanese soil, particularly in regions near Fukushima and industrial areas, contains lead from decades of environmental pollution. Tea plants are excellent at absorbing heavy metals from soil. When those leaves are ground into powder and you consume them completely, you're getting a much higher dose of lead than you would from steep tea. Studies have consistently shown that regular matcha consumption can lead to lead levels in the body that exceed what's considered safe. And we're not talking about drinking matcha occasionally. We're talking about the people who have a matcha latte every morning, who put matcha powder in their smoothies, who use it in baking. The matcha industry doesn't want you to know this because matcha is expensive and profitable. A small tin can cost $30 or $40. Brands market it as a superfood, focusing on the antioxidants and the sustained energy without the coffee crash. But they conveniently leave out the part about heavy metal contamination. If you're a regular matcha drinker, you need to seriously reconsider. The health benefits don't outweigh the risks of chronic lead exposure. Your brain, kidneys, and nervous system are too important to gamble with. All right, we've thoroughly depressed you. You're probably wondering if there's any tea that's actually safe to drink. The good news? Yes, there are brands that take testing and quality control seriously. Let us introduce you to 3 that consistently pass independent testing and have transparent practices. This brand has been around since 1974, and they've built their reputation on quality and safety. What sets traditional medicinals apart is their commitment to testing every single batch for over 300 pesticides and contaminants. They don't just test randomly, every batch. They also publish their testing standards publicly, which means they're holding themselves accountable. Traditional medicinal sources their herbs from certified organic farms and has direct relationships with growers. They know exactly where their ingredients come from and can trace every step of the supply chain. When Consumer Reports did their testing, traditional medicinals products consistently came back clean. Their teas aren't cheap, but you're paying for peace of mind. When you buy Throat Coat or Nightly Calm or any of their medicinal teas, you're getting herbs that were grown responsibly and tested rigorously. For people dealing with specific health issues who rely on herbal tea for symptom relief, this level of quality control is essential. Numi is another brand that goes beyond basic organic certification. They're a certified B Corporation, which means they meet rigorous standards for social and environmental responsibility. But more importantly for this conversation, they test for heavy metals and pesticides and publish those results. What we appreciate about Numi is their transparency. They'll tell you exactly where their tea comes from, down to the specific region and farm. They use biodegradable tea bags, so you're not getting microplastics leaching into your tea. And their supply chain is fair trade certified, which means the farmers growing the tea are paid fair wages and work in safe conditions. Fair labor practices actually impact quality, because farmers who are paid well and treated fairly are more likely to follow best practices in cultivation. They're not cutting corners or using cheap, dangerous pesticides because they're not operating on razor-thin margins. Numi's tea tastes better too, in our opinion. The aged Earl Grey is incredible, and their turmeric teas are some of the best we've tried. You can actually taste the difference when tea is grown with care and processed properly. This one is different from the other two because Peak doesn't sell traditional tea bags. They make tea crystals that dissolve in water. Stay with us here because the way they make these crystals is actually what makes them safer. Peak uses a cold brew crystallization process that concentrates the beneficial compounds in tea while leaving behind contaminants. They test every batch for heavy metals, pesticides, mold, and toxic mold byproducts. They call it triple toxin screening, and they publish the results on their website. The founder started this company after getting sick from mold-contaminated tea, so safety is built into their DNA. Their tea comes from organic farms in Japan and China, but it goes through such rigorous purification during the crystallization process that even teas from traditionally contaminated regions come out clean. Yes, it's expensive. A box of Peak costs more than most regular teas, but you're getting tea that's been purified and tested to a degree. That's rare in the industry. For people who drink multiple cups per day, investing in a safer product makes sense for long-term health. These 3 brands aren't perfect, and we're not saying they're the only safe options out there, but they represent companies that prioritize testing, transparency, and quality control. That's what you should be looking for when you shop for tea. Now that you know which brands to avoid and which ones to trust, let's talk about how to be a smarter tea consumer in general. First, look for third-party testing certifications. Don't just trust what the package says. Look for specific certifications like USDA Organic, Non-GMO Project Verified, and statements about heavy metal and pesticide testing. If a brand is truly clean, they'll be screaming about it on their packaging. Second, be wary of tea from China unless the brand can prove rigorous testing. This isn't xenophobia, it's reality. China has serious problems with soil contamination and pesticide overuse in agriculture. Some Chinese tea is fine, but you need brands that are actively testing and verifying safety. Third, consider loose-leaf tea over tea bags when possible. Many tea bags are made with plastic, and when you pour hot water over plastic, you're getting microplastics in your tea. Loose-leaf tea also tends to be higher quality because you can actually see what you're buying. Fourth, don't be fooled by natural or herbal labels. These terms aren't regulated. They're marketing. A tea can be 100% natural and still be contaminated with pesticides and heavy metals. Nature isn't always safe. Fifth, diversify the teas you drink. Don't have the same tea every single day, because if that tea happens to have low levels of contamination, drinking it constantly leads to accumulation in your body. Mix it up with different types and brands. Finally, write to companies and ask about their testing practices. If enough consumers demand transparency, brands will have to respond. Companies listen when their bottom line is threatened, and nothing threatens sales like customers who ask hard questions. If this video surprised you, share it with someone who drinks tea every day. Hit like so more people see this and comment which brand shocked you the most. Are you sticking with your usual tea or changing it? Subscribe because this doesn't stop here. Next, we're exposing coffee brands and the mold toxins hiding in cups people drink every morning. One result shocked even me. Stay informed. We'll see you in the next one.